Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm very pleased to welcome you to this session at the Educational Research Session. My name is Sarah Nelvila, and I will be leading you through this session. Each session or each contribution will have 10 minutes of speaking time and then 5 to 7 minutes for questions and remarks. Can everyone hear me? Is everything okay with the sound? Okay. So I would like to welcome Professor Kateryna Ozacha from Bogdan Khmelnytsky Melitopol State Pedagogical University with a contribution to digital design trends and their impact on the professional training of designers. Also, I would like to welcome Professor Dr. Seria Stofba from Vasylsky-Donetsk National University with a contribution, or her contribution has the title Quantivisual Assessing the Interdisciplinary of Various Research Fields on Base of Categorized Papers in Dimensions. I would like to welcome Dr. Tiziana Krushnitska from Dnipro State Medical University. Her contribution has the title Studying at Ukrainian Medical University in English. And last but not least, Dr. Svetlana Shukhanova from the National University of Kyiv-Mohyla Academy. Her contribution has the title Types of Assignments Recommended During RDM Practice Training for PhD students in Ukraine. So following the agenda, I would like to ask Mrs. Ozacha to share her screen.
Hi, my name is Kateryna Ozacha. I am professor at Bogdan Khmelnytsky Melitopol State Pedagogical University. I want to start my video presentation. Can you see?
Yes, thank you.
Sound, yes.
Digital design trends and their impact on the professional training of designers. Modern digital art is rapidly developing and penetrating many spheres in human activity, capturing positions in the design of books, posters, advertising products, the computer game industry, and cinema. These processes in turn need to be understood and generalized in order to modernize the context of the training of modern specialists in the field of computer graphics and digital design. Andreas Gursky's photography Rain 2 was sold for more than $4 million. In the original version, there were power station, passerby, and dog. All the author has responded in Photoshop. Phantom by Australian photographer Peter Leake sold for $6.5 million. Peter Leake made her when he was in Arizona. A JPG file with 5,000 paintings by the artist people glued together went under the hammer for more than $63 million. All this is happening thanks to the development of digital creativity, digital art, and design. You see an example of digital art, pixel art. Image of the environment of the video game The Witcher 3. The first Parisian Digital Museum of Fine Arts. Kyiv Lights Festival, International Festival of Light and Media Art. The installation Broken Beauty, Italy, took first place. The first large-scale water projection in Ukraine. How did it all begin? It all started with the TV installation. Next, stereographic technologies. Glitch and distortion. Virtual gallery of virtual works of digital artists. 3D art. Cybernetic art. The art of artificial intelligence. Media art. Space modeling for virtual simulations, for training programs and entertaining visual spaces, such as at the Kherson State Maritime Academy. A unique phenomenon is the presentation of works of art in Instagram. You can see an example here. Currently, such digital technologies of creativity as fractal graphics, digital painting, web design, illustrations in interfaces, character design, three-dimensional graphics. Mavka, the forest song. The unbreakable creatives at Ukraine's Animagrat Animation Studio announced they have entered the final stage of production for their highly anticipated animated fantasy feature, Mavka, the forest song. Despite facing the violent invasion by Russia, the team is on track to complete the project for its planned delivery in Q4 2022. Innovative areas of digital design are currently augmented and virtual reality. All these modern technologies of digital design should be studied during the professional training of future designers. The content of training in computer graphics and digital design should include familiarization with both traditional knowledge of fine arts and digital technologies and software tools for creating various digital products. At Bogdan Khmelnytsky Melitopol State Pedagogical University, at the Department of Informatics and Cybernetics, digital designers are trained on these principles. Next, the presentation presents examples of works of students studying under the educational program Digital Design. After the start of Russia's military aggression on the territory of Ukraine, one of the obstacles of the implementation of the educational process was the low speed and often the complete absence of internet connection in the occupied territory. The main place of work and communication of students became the distance learning site on the Moodle platform and the VoIP program Discord. This made it possible to implement the professional training of future specialists in the conditions of Russia's military aggression on the territory of Ukraine. I hope that we will be able to return to normal life and the educational process in free Ukraine. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much for your attention. What's about questions? I'm sorry, my English not very good. I'm very, very sorry. Therefore, I will be grateful if you write your questions in the chat. I will also reply to you in chat. Maybe one of the participants will translate the question and answer. Your question, please. No?
Is there questions or remarks for the contribution from Mrs. Ozacha? So just for us to know that you're writing in the chat right now, or okay, as far as I can see, there are no questions so far, but maybe it takes some time to think about your contribution, and then the questions will be asked later. Maybe at the end of the session, we have another few minutes. Okay, so I would say we can go on in our agenda, and I would like to please, Professor Dr. Stoffer, I'm sorry for my pronunciation, share the screen, please. Let's see her. I think she's not in the session. So maybe we should go on with Dr. Tiziana Kruszynska.
Yes, thank you for possibility to present our research. Now I share my screen. Do you see my presentation? I'd like to present the survey studying at Ukrainian Medical University in English, which was performed in Dnipro State Medical University and Ruhr University Bochum. Integration of Ukrainian higher education into European and global academic space reflects the vector of development of our country as a whole. And standards of higher education attach a great importance to foreign language communicative competence. So we formulate the research task as studying the possibilities of using different approaches to the English language teaching for Masters of Medicine and adaptation foreign models of teaching in English to the needs and the available resources of higher medical education in Ukraine. There are two main models of teaching in English for non-philologists. It is content and language integrated learning, or CLIL, in which the learning objectives of each discipline possess also a language component, and the study of language disciplines involves the acquisition of special non-philological knowledge. In other approach, English as a medium for instruction, or EMI, the English language is only a means of communication, a working tool, and the learning is focused on the content of specific discipline, while language skills improved via everyday practice. And what is special in medical education in Ukraine? At the beginning of 21st century, we encounter this shortage of students due to demographic processes and the high passing score for admission to budget study, and the high cost of education in commercial basis. And these factors forced Ukrainian medical universities to enter the international market of educational services, where before the Russian aggression, they occupied a stable position. This slide illustrates the number of international students in Ukrainian medical universities. The data taken from the testing center of Ministry of the Health, which conducts the licensing exam, CROC 1, and all students of third year must pass them, so we can count how many students we have. And we see that stable increase of English-speaking medical students and stomatology students. And of course, some international students also study in Ukrainian, but their number is not so large. And this decrease is due to pandemics of COVID-19, because this exam is only in person. And this year, students study mostly online, and the real number is also high. The Dnipro Medical University is typical institution. And if we look at our international students, mostly they prefer to study in English than in Ukrainian. We start the teaching in English in 2011 with one group of international students, and in 10 years we have 14 groups, and the annual enrollment of English-speaking students is above 300. And these students mostly come from India, Middle East, and Africa. And in situation where neither teachers nor students are native English speakers, they approach the EMI allow to organize the educational process and achieve the necessary outcomes. Not being familiar with the theory and methodology of EMI, Ukrainian teachers independently discover the same approaches of effective using the English language in pedagogical communication. And which features of EMI were implemented in Ukrainian medical universities? It is a clear structuring of educational material and algorithmization of study with maximal visualization, using common words and simple grammatical constructions and non-verbal elements of communication. The preferable interactive forms of students' work, situational tasks, clinical cases, and high attention to the development of practical skills. And related issue, it is adapting students to multicultural environment, their motivation and engagement, tolerance and empathy, keeping code of conduct and academic ethics. But one essential feature of EMI was not used in Ukraine. It is a prospective and retrospective reflection, which is important for the mutual understanding of the participant of educational process who have different cultural background and communicate in a language other than their own. In Ukrainian medical education, in classes, there are a large volume of professionally oriented content, which leaves no time for more or less extensive reflection of these educational activities. Of course, we obtain the feedback from students, but it's not immediate. We have every semester anonymous questionnaires, but it's not allowed the person-to-person communication for reflection. On the other side, Ukrainian scientists make essential contribution to the development of EMI. It is a unification of methodical materials and standardization of pedagogical technologies. It is especially characteristic for teaching medical and biological disciplines, where the opportunity to join educators' efforts to create English language teaching aids and develop a general methodology of their use. This standardization provides a sufficient level of training. Even the team includes employers with little work experience or those who do not speak English confidently enough. It should be noted that the standardization of teaching in medical education is perceived as natural because standardized algorithms and protocols of medical care are typical for modern medicine. As a result of this experience of teaching international students, we have a large progress in teaching in English. It is an increase in language proficiency of academics in Ukrainian medical universities. In Dnipro Medical University, in departments, 30 to 70% of pedagogical workers speak English at the level B2 or higher. And we have the large English language educational content. Only in 2019-2020 educational year, it was published up to 40 textbooks, students' guidance published in Ukraine in English. And the authors of these methodic materials, it's the Ukrainian specialists. And also we have English-speaking academic environment. Now in Ukraine is 26 universities providing training in medical specialties, and 14 of them have English language version of their websites. And often student scientific and cultural events also held in English. English language education in Ukrainian medical universities was mainly an option for foreign students. Ukrainian students, is a mandatory, they study in Ukrainian. At the same time, Masters of Medicine must acquire the communicative English language competence. In licensing exam, the passing criterion for English language subtest is 36%. This subtest contains 50 tasks from medical biological disciplines and requires integrated content and language knowledge that match more the other model, CLIL. Some elements of this content and language integrated learning we can see even in post-Soviet medical education. In English classes, texts based on student specialty were traditionally used. However, this was aimed at professionally oriented language learning and not to obtain special knowledge from English language sources. And studying professional disciplines, students used in English language literature to complete coursework or other individual tasks. In this case, their language competence was not assessed separately, but using foreign sources could be a requirement for this coursework or allow students to get higher grade. Accreditation of educational programs shows that Ukrainian students are interested in strengthening their foreign language communicative competence. Now they may study the elective course foreign language for professional use, while the teaching of certain disciplines in English is not offered. But this teaching has essential benefits. It is, first of all, vocabulary expansion due to assimilation of professional terminology, which is very diverse and very specific in medicine. And of course, it is a development of the skills of reading and understanding original text, listening, oral and written communication, as a result of intensive using English in educational activities. And the implementation of content and language integrated learning makes serious demands to the students' entry level in the English language. Foreign language entrance exam is not mandatory for Masters of Medicine, so the language skills in students differ significantly. What can you see in this table? It is a performance of students at Dnipro Medical University, the subtest of English language proficiency. And all this survey allow us to make the conclusions that English language teaching at medical universities was aimed to foreign students and carried out mostly according to the EMI model. As a result, now we have human and methodical resources for teaching at least part of the subjects according to the content and language integrated learning for Ukrainian students, which corresponds to their interests and to the strategic direction in the development of higher education in Ukraine as a whole. And the question is, which should be studied, in which way and on what scale the implementation of CLIL can be organized and how to form the appropriate contingent of students. And another problem we have, of course, after 24th of February, it is a decrease in international students. And our chance to maintain the achievements of English language medical education is to provide it for Ukrainian students, or otherwise we can lose this advance in pedagogical studies. This is a reference for our research. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much for this very, very interesting contributions. Are there any questions from the audience or remarks?
Maybe at the end of session, somebody wants to ask me.
Yeah. So, but if you have any questions, or maybe during the next contribution, you can just write it down in the chat, or yeah, we will have time left at the end. Okay, so then Dr. Svetlana Shukanova.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I'm very glad to present at this conference, and I would like to share with you my research, our experience of the University of Kyiv-Mohyla Academy on research data management training for PhD students. So I'm a librarian and also a senior lecturer at the Psychology and Pedagogic Department. That is why I combine my library activities with teaching and training activities. Research data management is very important and crucial topic in PhD students' preparation, especially when we are talking about their soft skills and transferable skills. But for Ukraine, this topic is quite new. And I must admit that those who teach our PhD students or our researchers what is research data management also learn together with the students. So am I. So I'm learning with my students as well. Research data management is an active organization of data, of research data through the whole research process. From the very beginning, from the gathering of the data until its archiving and reuse, even after the project is complete. And research data management is closely connected with research data life cycle. And each institution, each university or research institution has its own data life cycle. That is why we also stress upon this topic. Research data management elements in PhD training at the National University of Kyiv-Mohyla Academy were integrated into the course, which was started in 2009. And the course is called Digital Science and Information Literacy on the basis of Naukma Doctoral School. There are modules on academic integrity and research data management were added to the curriculum of this program in 2018. Before the pandemic started, we prepared in 2019, in partnership with Foster Open Science and with Clarivate Analytics, we developed a MOOC on the platform Prometheus. This MOOC is called Scientific Communication in the Digital Age. The same name has a library conference, which we have annually. This course, almost identical to the course which we offer to our PhD students. It consists of 13 modules, and 2 of them are devoted to research data management basics and research data management planning. During these modules, we were supported also by Ukrainian specialist and representative of Foster Open Science, Irina Kuchma. But the experience of communicating with our PhD students, the experience of working on a module in research data management has shown us the need in separate data management course. Probably selective course, not obligatory, but still some PhD students need more information on research data management. Now I'm working on such a course. I try to put some materials on our digital educational platform. And so far, the concept of this course has 7 topics, which you can see on the slide. So we are going to talk about the importance of data management, the concept of research data, of course, research data lifecycle, how to organize data, naming rules, of course, research data management plan, because all of our PhD students, they apply for different projects, for different grants, and they need to comply with requirements of the organizations in order to submit their proposals. Addressing ethical issues, academic integrity, data ethics, working with personal data, of course, and working with repositories for long-term data storage. And of course, as each course, it will have a final test. We stressed upon main topics and main competencies which should be trained. We would like to mention among these competencies the ability to manage and share data and understand why it is important, the ability to complete a research data management plan, understand what research data life cycle is, of course, be aware of data security, data protection, be aware of GDPR and Ukrainian legislation on data protection, what is big data, how to publish and cite data, and many, many more competencies which are very important. On the slide, you can see what exercise, which competencies should train. And of course, we must distinguish between different data types, different research data types, and we need to provide our students with the practice on what data and what specialties and what fields of science operate with what types of data. So the ability to categorize data. Of course, we need to compare several data life cycles in order to build our own data life cycle, or in order to construct the data life cycle of our research institution. Of course, students must be aware how to use, for example, DMP tool and other automatization tools for completing their research data management plan in order to submit it, for example, for some with some proposals. And students should learn how to prepare metadata, how to provide their data packages with proper metadata. Also they need to understand the importance of open formats in order to make science really open, and in order to provide joint work with different researchers by using the same tools. Along with this, they also need to know the most common naming conventions and version control rules. They need to operate such registries, for example, as res3data.org registry, in order to find proper repository for publishing their data sets and to share with their colleagues. They need to understand the importance of data security and research integrity and ethics. And with this aim, they need to be aware of GDPR and national and international laws on data protection. Along with data protection, we cannot but mention academic integrity aspects. And as we do with publications, we need to do with data packages, its proper citation. When we reuse somebody's data, we need to mention the author, and we need to know the rules, how to cite the data and how we can use it as a source of our further studies. And of course, we need to know about open science tools such as GitHub, Jupyter Notebooks, Google Data Studio, RStudio. It depends on the specialty. It depends on the readiness of a student to use these or that tools. And they can choose what tool will be suitable for their research. Of course, we can set up different discussions in order to gain profound knowledge on data in discussions, what big data is, some aspects of GDPR or of our national law on data protection, or different tools to compile research data management plans, or different repositories and how to find it. Also, we can experience OSF platform, Open Science Framework platform, to see how it works, how we can upload our data, how we can extract bibliographic records for citing the data. And also, we can practice with naming and renaming with help of different automated tools. With this aim, we also can see what we can use in analyze frictionless data tools, or other tools for naming, renaming, anonymization, and other operations with data. So as a conclusion, I would like to say that researchers should bear in mind that research data management practice is very important, especially when we're talking about open science concept, and we need to know that all research data management processes are closely connected with research data lifecycle, and depending on research data lifecycle in our research institution or university, we can maintain our research data management practice. Of course, research data management practice is not only a responsibility of a researcher. Also, the library can help with metadata, with finding proper repository, or with uploading in our institutional repository. So it is also a good practice of communication with your library. Actually, that's it, what I wanted to tell about our experience in research data management training. If you have some questions, I will be happy to answer your questions.
Any questions from the audience or remarks? You can also write it in the chat.
Yes, dear Svetlana, thank you for very interesting report. And my question is, do you collect any feedbacks from the PhD students about how they satisfied with this course? What is most important in this course for them?
Thank you for your question. So actually, it is only a model, of course. So now we do not have an entire course in research data management, but we are planning to set it up. Now we have only a module, research data management, among 13 modules. For example, in academic integrity, in scholarly communication, in scientometrics, and our students like this module, especially they like the exercise of completing their research data management plan. So they have variety of choices. They can choose either DMP tool or other tools to complete in their plan, or we have some templates which they can fill in, or they can create their own template according to their studies. And after they complete their research data management plan, usually after we check it, they take it with them and try to stick it and try to also try to use it in their studies, in their research. And I received feedback from my PhD students that these research data management plans really helped them a lot in their studies. They helped them to navigate in their studies, to know what exactly they need to do with their data, what step after what they need to do. And they liked the module. I know also a feedback from the users of our course on Prometheus. This course also has two modules dedicated to research data management, and it was quite positive. It was very useful for the researchers who took part in it. And this course is still open on Prometheus platform. So in Ukrainian, it is called Наукова комунікація в цифрову епоху. So digital scholarly communication in digital era. And also, it's very useful as for our PhD students and for all researchers in Ukraine or in other countries, but this course is in Ukrainian, so it will be useful for those who know the Ukrainian language. But I must admit that students like it, and I also was asked why I'm working on this curriculum for this course, because I was asked by Ludmila Krоворучka, the director of our PhD school, doctoral school, because she told me that our PhD students really asked for more information on research data management.
Thank you for the answer and for your valuable work.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Okay, as far as I can see, Professor Stoffer is still not in the session, which is a pity. So we have some time left. Maybe now, any questions to the other contributions? I have a question to Mrs. Kruszynska.
Yes, please.
What would you say are the main challenges if you want to offer an English study course?
Main challenges, yes, it's the proficiency of teachers, I think. Maybe it sounds strange, but in Dnipro Medical University, the average age is 50 plus. And and all these professors and doctors should study English, and the administration of Dnipro Medical University take a great efforts to solve this problem. We have special language courses in our university for all teachers, free, with orientation for medical specificity of English. And this program develops to the center. Now we have the Cambridge Center, which can conduct the licensed exam in English. Yes, and the other problem, it is the methodical materials. But now we can take them from many open resources, the teaching materials, not only textbook, but what is more important in our teaching, the video materials, educational video, which help us a lot in organization, especially practical classes. Yes, and I think we cope with this problem. And I'd like that we use our experience now for Ukrainian students, and many of them are displaced and should migrate to the European countries. And for them is very important to have a good comment in English, and they can acquire this proficiency if we deliver the lectures on medical disciplines in English or conducting practical classes also in English. I try to use some elements of this English language study for Ukrainian students also. For them, we demonstrate the same English videos, English language videos, with translation, with discussion, and the terminology also provided for them, explanation of usage of special, in my case, it's microbiological terms, and we have rather good results, and of course it should be developed more.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So it's often the case that the contributions have to be processed first and then the questions arise later. I checked the homepage and I saw all the profiles of the different contributions there. So I saw all the profiles. So there's the possibility to contact each other later and ask questions later. So I would say that all our contributions are presented, and yeah, I would like to thank you for your presentation. And if no more questions arise, I would hereby close the session. So thank you very much.